Welcome back to episode 2 of my preseason top 10 players list for Overwatch League 2023. Last time we did DPS, which I'll leave a link to in the description if you missed it, and today we'll be doing supports. If you missed my previous video, here's a quick rundown of how this works. I will be listing in order my projected top 10 players in the league on the support role. These are going to be my projected top performers on the year based on how they perform as a whole. These rankings are largely based on skill level, potential, past peaks, predictions, what their teams are capable of, consistency, and more. If all that sounds good, sit back and relax, and hopefully don't mull too much over my takes. Starting off the list at number 10 is one of the greatest players of all time, Twilight. My thought process is simple here. Twilight has consistently been one of the best players in the world since 2019. He's been around ever since then and has not gone anywhere. But in recent years, he's maybe felt a little less relevant. The Shock had him split playtime, and Toronto were very mid last year. Boston are a much better team, and based off of what we saw in the Pro-Am, he's likely going to be starting a lot more than he did on the Shock, and he's going to have the synergy as he reunites with both Smurf and Striker. He'll surely be in his element as the team's dedicated Ana player, and it's in this role that he very well could be the stable pillar and the most consistent player on the roster. Twilight is overdue for an excellent season where everybody calls him one of the best, and we all know that he can do it. I'm expecting Twilight to go big. At number 9, let's go with Leejaegon, Twilight's new partner in crime. For a lot of people, he may have had a bit of a down year in 2022. The Dragons took a step back, and he just couldn't make as much of an impact. But on Boston, his backline will be more stable, and I think him and Smurf could really be fun to watch together. Something tells me they, maybe plus Decay, will dominate control maps with some good dives. This is not the end of his story, and I'd like to think that Boston utilizes him well. Twilight, Iziaki, and Smurf complement his playstyle, and Boston could face some inconsistencies at DPS potentially, and I think that's where Leejaegon could be the guy they depend on actually to bail them out, especially on control. He loves having those extra opportunities to take over a match, and he'll take it 9 times out of 10 on a Boston team that he's at least somewhat familiar with thanks to the coaching and having Iziaki. At the number 8 slot, I'm going with Finn. Some people still don't truly believe in Finn and think that he can be elite. He made some mistakes last year for sure that shows he has some flaws, but being a year wiser with better teammates that he's more familiar with and great coaching could help that out a lot. Finn is undeniably very talented, and I think that he's consistent on most heroes, and the ones that he's not as good on, I think he should do better on since he's on a team that will just have better synergy. And having teammates he's familiar with is just going to help him avoid general mistakes. Kaluj and Violet were both excellent players last year, but just having tanks and supports that he's actually won championships with before should help him out a lot. Having Junbin and Max and Vindame is something that I'm looking forward to with Finn. He's learned a lot since his rookie year, and he seems like one of those guys who wants to get better and show that he can be an all-time great. And considering how good he already was last year, he should be in a pretty favorable spot to be pretty great this year. There's more opportunities to show off his mechanics in this situation, and this is where I think Finn makes the jump. He's got everything that he needs to make it happen. Number 7, Chorong. Maybe a little surprising to see him this far up on the list, but I have a good feeling about Chorong in 2023. He was already very good during his rookie season, but was unfortunately hindered partially by poor coaching and a mediocre team. Florida are a step above in both regards, and Chorong is a promising young player with a high ceiling that has not been reached yet. We know he's capable of reaching that superstar level based off of last year and his time in contenders. It's all there, all of their credentials. He's got a great head on his shoulders, and now he'll have even more opportunities to prove it in meaningful games most likely on what should be a competitive Florida roster. And he's already shown that he can thrive under that kind of pressure thanks to his time on Talon, so I have reason to believe that Chorong will take his game to a new level. At number 6, I'm going with Iziaki. While Iziaki was a role star in 2022, a lot of people, including myself, felt like he didn't deserve it. It felt like he maybe lost a step or two. But Boston might be the perfect place for him to get back on track. With Violet there to help out, Iziaki can focus a bit more on the heroes that he likes to be bloodthirsty on, like Zen and Kiriko. He may not always start because of Twilight's Ana, so when he gets subbed in, I think he's gonna frag. He can be more of the aggressor rather than his longtime partner Leejaegon during those double flex support situations, and that's what he's always been known for in a way. His mechanics were the big thing that got him into OWL to begin with. He just had to adjust when he went to Shanghai. This is a fun new way to play the game that'll feel refreshing and enjoyable for this longtime veteran. All of us need to change things up once in a while in our lives, and everything is always more enjoyable when it feels new. Izzy is going to play more like his rookie days, but with way more knowledge and experience than then. I could see him easily being one of the best playmaking supports in the entire league. He may not even start consistently, but I just think his impact will be so great when he does play that you won't even care. The maps he rotates in for could be the ones that Boston are the best at, and I'm looking forward to watching that entire Boston backline go to work. Speaking of fraggers, at number 5, we're going with Violet. After a year off from being what most would consider God's tier, I see Violet coming back strong in 2023. With the way this game is currently trending, double flex support composition should be pretty strong right off the rip, and that's going to help Violet give Houston maximum value. His main support isn't bad at all, and he should be a year stronger on it. But now he's offering you that top-notch versatility, quite possibly not just on Circuit Royale this year, by playing things like Zenyatta alongside a Shu, Ana, or Baptiste. Think about that for a second. Violet is going to be pocketed by Shu in some situations. That kind of setup is going to let Violet turn back the clock to his prime years on the San Francisco Shock, with a good mix of the new that he's learned as a main support. With all of those star players on Houston, it's not exactly easy to focus Violet, and even if you try to, he's got some of the best backup known to man in Shu, who won't even hesitate to give him every resource at his disposal. And let's not forget that Violet himself can take you on in a 1v1 or even a 2v1. He's done it before, and he certainly could do it again. He just brings so much to the table as a real hyperflex this year, and so long as the game stays in this kind of state, Violet provides max value that people will definitely come to appreciate. At number 4 is where some people may say I'm being a little too spicy. I'm going with Vigilante. It may seem like a risky pick to have him so high up when he really hasn't played that much, but the guy really is trending in that direction. Every pro and every coach has nothing but great things to say about him. He's by all accounts supposed to be the next big thing. Apparently his ceiling is absolutely bonkers. Everybody loves how he plays. Regardless of how little we've seen him at the OWL level, if you're getting that kind of attention while playing for a team as stacked as Atlanta Reign, you're probably worth taking seriously. Vigilante has super cracked mechanics both on Zen and Ana, and he really might be the thing that makes the Reign backline the most OP in league history. He was literally getting playtime over Fielder in the Pro-Am and straight up Ana compositions. If that's not the real deal, I don't know what is. And just think about what's going to happen when him and Fielder play at the same time. Vigilante Zen with that level of support does not sound fair. This guy is young, he still has a lot to prove, he's motivated, everybody seems to respect him, so I'ma say that he puts out a superstar season. Speaking of Atlanta supports, Chio will be starting off our top 3. No need to really explain this one, right? Chio is probably the best main support in the league. A lot of people thought he was already at that level as a rookie, and it's hard to see that changing now that he's a league veteran on yet another stacked team. This guy can play the Lucio better than anybody else out there, and he's very versatile. He's shown he can play a bunch of different styles, no problem. He's flexible in all regards, he's intelligent, he can make the plays himself when needed, and that instantly makes him more valuable than most of the league's main supports. Chio is so dependable, and now that he's got Vigilante there, he can focus purely on his main support heroes and perfect his craft even further. Easy choice here. Number 2, Shu. I mean, yeah. Is anyone really surprised? Shu's been one of the best players in the world for 2 years running, maybe even 3. He's always a threat to be in that MVP race because of his uncanny ability to carry at an unpopular position and be a primary playmaker. Shu is inevitable. He is one of the most mechanically gifted players in the game's history. And so long as he wants to play, Xiu's going to be one of the best. There's maybe a chance he takes a slight step back at times to better assist Violet, and because there's so many amazing stars on his team, but there is no world where he isn't like a top 5 player on his role bare minimum. Xiu's been doing this for a very long time. It is in his nature to be a clutch playmaker. It's not easy to stay relevant for 3 years running, but Xiu is gunning for a championship. His tenure on the Gladiators just wasn't enough. He got close a couple of times, but in spite of his best efforts, it was never enough, and I think he knows very well this could be the best chance he ever has. It should serve as excellent motivation for a guy that just hasn't reached that level yet. He'll give it his all to finally get there, and I think the final product will once again be a highlight machine that acts as a possible 3rd, if not 4th DPS on that team because they also have Violet. Nobody is a better playmaking flex support than this man, and I can't see that changing anytime soon. And finally, at number 1, I gotta go with my boy Fielder. Like Xiu, there's a world where Fielder ends up taking a step back this year, especially with Vigilante gunning for playtime. But nobody out there can deny that Fielder is the best teammate-focused, heal-centric support in the entire game, and that will always be valuable, especially when your decision-making and timing and positioning is superior to everybody else around you. Even if he's not number 1, Fielder will always be God tier. The way he plays the game is the closest thing to perfect that you'll ever see. And when you can arguably be the league's best Ana, Kiriko, and Moira at the same time, you basically have an easy ticket to the top of the leaderboard. Fielder's style of play and underrated ability to set up plays and get picks makes him the perfect candidate for best support in the entire game. It's such a stable way to approach the game, and it'll always be reliable no matter what the meta is and no matter what his team is. He just feels like a safe number 1 pick, which is why he gets the nod. And there you have it, ladies and gentlemen, my top 10 support players of 2023. I feel like most of these picks are somewhat reasonable. I do kinda understand that there's a lot of players from just a few specific teams, but I'm expecting only some of them to come true anyway, just because you never know what could happen. Let me know what you think in the comments below, and tell me your own top 10 as well. And if you enjoyed this video, and you want more content just like it, be sure to like this video and subscribe to the channel if you're new. And until next time, this is ATP, signing out. Peace.